What's going on, everybody? So I took some feedback from somebody on my channel who suggested I play Star Trek New Horizons mod for Stellaris, the complete conversion mod. And I will say, after playing it for quite a bit, I'm really impressed. The devs who worked on this, you can see the passion that they have. The level of just polish, the level of detail is just amazing. I was taken back by it. The loading screens, the putting in the quotes on the bottom from Star Trek, from movies and episodes. I was really impressed, and they did a lot of work. So I started as United Earth, right, was basically just this, and the Vulcans were down here, and then, um, or was it Andorians were over here, right? So I just had like one or two ships, and it was very interesting. You get to if I felt like I was in Star Trek Enterprise, the series, and I had one small ship, and we were working on the NX program for the actual NX Enterprise from Star Trek Enterprise. It felt amazing, and as the game went on, a couple cool things happened. One, the Xindi probe came and first hit Earth, then the actual Xindi weapon came and destroyed Earth. I was not able to stop it. I had like, I don't know, a fleet of like 800 power plus my starbase, but it wasn't able. Like they had the Xindi weapon, and then they had like the what do you call it? The supporting ships from the Xindi collective. I eventually sent one ship out, like a science ship, to try to find them, which they're somewhere right about. I don't know. I found them. They were, I think, here. Oh, there we go. I think. Azadi. I think this is them. Anyway, so they were really far from Earth. By the time I got into this area, it was pretty much coming to a close, right? I didn't have really that much time to find them, set up diplomatic relations, to do anything like that. But the other weird thing is that I've noticed that, like, after they destroy Earth, my relations with them were not at war, which I thought was kind of weird. Like, hey, you destroyed my home planet, but it's okay. We're not at war. It was just weird. But anyway, I just really was just surprised that that they could do that. That the developers put that in a game and such. So I thought that was cool. The other thing that was on my mind, I was wondering, like, all right, how do I go from a united Earth to uh, the Federation, the United Federation of Planets? Like, is this the only way I could play the United Federation of Planets as a whole? So I was like, all right. I checked out the forums, and apparently the devs went in and they did some work. They did some heavy, heavy lifting. And they managed um, to form the Federation somehow through like a series of numerous events. I was able to form the Federation. And they have this new mechanic in the game where every 2 years the Federation can consider new members, right? Or influence members, and a couple other things. I was just like, wow. Honestly, it the level of work, the level of detail, is pretty remarkable. Now, let me take you to my fleets. Still building it because everything was pretty much destroyed. Um, they're a lot smaller ships, as you can see, right? Now, compare this. There's my NX. That's Stellaris, the NX-05, right? Now, compare this to, where is it? There we go. To the upcoming Star Trek Infinite. I think the ship models in this game are going to be a little bit bigger. I mean, they feel a little bit bigger. See? Like compared. does feel a lot bigger. You know, like you could easily tell that's way bigger than what we're playing here, right? So I do notice that. Uh, I will say that I'm very interested in playing Star Trek Infinite. Um, I do notice like the resources are slightly different here. I want to know more about the GUI. Because what they did with the GUI, the actual interface here is really amazing. There's also like a way that you can have like a Romulan, Klingon interface. Like they went all out. Like I'm just like, wow, okay. So I could have the Federation interface. I could have the Klingon, Romulan. Wow. So the only thing that is kind of weird is that we formed the Federation, but I can't. So like this is the Vulcan fleet, right? And they got a pretty big fleet. And there's the Endor fleet somewhere right around here. I can't control them. Like they are their own thing. I do notice that I can ask to borrow them. So I haven't done that yet though. Now obviously here I don't think that's gonna be a like challenge because I think you're the Federation. You got Starfleet. Uh, but the one thing I will say is based upon my knowledge of Star Trek, I do believe that there are Vulcan ships and Andorian ships in the 24th century, right? Like you will have Vulcan ships and such, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember some references to a Vulcan ship or references to uh, maybe other ships too from other different races. But I'm just very interested on how different it's going to be. Is it going to be different? Is it going to be this mod but a light version of it, or is it going to be this mod and then some? Because the difference is the developers who made this have to work within the confines of the engine, right? The engine was designed for Stellaris, right? So you could change a few things. You can change the GUI, you could change this, but the ultimate function of the engine is going to pretty much work the same, right? You could tweak certain things, and they tweaked a lot of things, but it's still going to run like a car, right? You can't take this game that's a gas engine car and make it an electric car. However, these developers, now I'm just assuming, was probably handed the source code of the engine and are able to actually go in and change core fundamental aspects of that engine. So we could see a lot of things that are different. Good example is this this mission tree. Now, if you guys play Hearts of Iron and you got the focus trees, this should look familiar to you. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't do this in Stellaris, but because the developers have access to this open source code for Stellaris, they can put this in. And since they put this in, what else are they putting in? What else are they making that's going to be different? I do notice this is slightly different. This is the same too, right? Like similar to Stellaris, where you choose one out of three. But then again, you never know. They might have some an icon where you can expand to a tree. You never know. So this is very similar to First Contact in Stellaris. But even though it's similar, there can be key aspects that are different on how certain things work. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's the same exact icon. That's the same exact icon. Yes, but there could be fundamental shifts on how these functions work. So you might click this, and it might take you to a whole separate screen that's very unique just to this game. So that's very interesting. Civilian ships, observation, military fleet, star bases. Yeah, so I mean, and then also battles are going to be look different too. And the reason being is, well, the ships are going to be bigger. So that's one, right? And then the other aspect is if you go here, it says build the Enterprise, and then you have these here where it says LaForge, Data, Worf, which will give you bonuses. I wonder, there has been some rumors. I'm not sure if I read an article or a forum post, but somebody said that you can assign captains to individual vessels. So if that's true, that is going to be wow. So yeah, if that plays out, that's going to be really, really cool. Anyway, the other difference is that this is going to take place in like the 2340s. So when Picard is probably commander or maybe like a lieutenant commander, where everybody's the next generation crew is very young, and then you'll progress the game to the middle part of the game where you're in the TNG era, where Picard has the Enterprise and stuff, and then there's going to be a late period in the game where I'm assuming it'll be Deep Space Nine, maybe the Picard series timeline. So that's going to be interesting. And this game, though, starts at, well, like I said before, Star Trek Enterprise. So that is pretty huge. Uh, and then the other question that I have is, well, this starts in 2340. Question that I have is, can it be moddable to start in 2360? I'm sorry, the Enterprise era. Because you know how fans are. And Star Trek fans, I will say, are the best, if not the top three best modders. I would say the best modders. If you go, I'll leave a link to Birth of the Federation, which is the first Star Trek Grand Strategy game. That game was released in 1999. The community behind that has kept that game alive for 20 plus years. Without the source code, they were able to expand the map. They were able to make such huge refinements to the game. Uh, I mean, it will blow your mind on what they did, expanding that game to way beyond what it was designed to. So when this game comes out, and some people are going to want like, hey, I want to start at the Enterprise, time period. I bet you there's going to be a modder out there that's going to say, let's get started. So all right. That's just my video right here. I just wanted to point that out. Really huge props to the developers about for this mod. I really, really enjoy it. It's something really really amazing. I'm really excited for this. I'm excited to see what happens. The differences. This tech tree is very interesting. The battles are going to be very interesting. Um, yeah, this is going to be amazing. Be sure to wish list it. Be sure to follow them as well. We want to get a lot of people wish listing and following this game. We do, because the more people that wish list it, the more people that buy it. Meaning, the more people that do that, the more Star Trek games we'll get. So let's do that. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Catch you next one. See you then.